is the best there is. Who the hell are they gonna get to teach us?
With all due respect, sir, I'm not a teacher.
What the hell?
We're going into combat on a level no living pilot's ever seen.
You think up there you're dead.
My dad believed in you. I'm not gonna make the same mistake.
Those are your pilots. Anything happens to them.
Smoke in the air! Smoke in the air!
No turning back now.
Come on!
Cialis, the movie.
What do you mean by that?
The sex scene was very different in this movie.
It was not a sex scene. It was a Cialis commercial.
It kind of was.
All right, we're doing a shot. It's a slippery sailor. Delightful. I think it's really good.
It's the best slippery sailor I've ever had.
Only slippery sailor I'll ever have. Overall, I thought the movie was okay, entertaining. I was a little disappointed. I was expecting more flying action and
more homoeroticism.
Yeah.
Iceman texting, "I need you."
I need you. There was too many dry parts, I thought.
Not wet enough.
No, not wet enough. Of course, it's going to be very similar to the original.
I'm not the target audience.
Who is the target audience?
Boomers.
Boomers.
Those boomers.
Are you boomers?
I don't think they were trying for any Academy Awards here. They were just trying to sell seats and.
Yeah.
The first one won an Oscar.
It did.
Best song.
The home viewers are like, well, where did that dog come from?
Available for adoption.
10 years Air Force, crew chief, plane captain, same thing.
Naval flight officer.
Bro.
That's a good
Oh my god.
This is good television right here, isn't it?
He's available at Lucky 13 Rescue.
Yeah, he's very available. So, Air Force, Navy, Naval Aviator.
He's Naval Aviator.
205 carrier landings as NFO and S3, but I've flown in an F-18. I've flown in an F-14.
Whoa.
How many G's you pulled? Max number of G's.
Max G number. That's a good question.
6.
Whoa.
Maybe.
And how'd that make you feel?
What was that in? Were you flying?
That was an A4.
Were you on the stick, or is that someone else?
I was someone else on the stick. Yeah.
What's the most you've pulled on the stick and gotten?
3 or 4.
I pulled that at World's Fun Roller Coaster.
That's right, yeah.
I don't think
the
that's
Finnish fling?
Yeah.
The Zambezi zinger.
That's where I met Carol.
4 G's on there.
Jeff, you remember me telling the story about how I attacked a pilot with a ball-peen hammer?
It's in the last video.
It is?
I give the visuals a 9 out of 10. Great visuals.
Agree.
And they made a big deal out of the actors had to turn the cameras on and off themselves. I was like, it's not really that hard to hit the on button. They're like, they had to do their own makeup touch-ups. Is that, you got a helmet and an oxygen mask? What are you touching up exactly?
The actors also had to learn how to run the cameras because when they're up in the jet, they have to direct themselves essentially.
Okay, I'm rolling.
I had to really teach them cinematography and the lighting so that they understood what's gonna look good on camera.
Not, oh my god, it's The Matrix and it's revolutionized cinema.
It was worth the ticket price.
Yeah, the writing I give a 3 out of 10.
Writing? It's pretty tough. It wasn't very creative.
I thought very predictable.
Yes.
She can vouch.
Yeah.
I was just like, in
What's
4
gonna
minutes, this is gonna happen. Can you vouch for me that I?
He was right 100%.
Well,
100%. The point of we're gonna do actual planes, real, putting the actors in the planes, which they didn't do in the first time.
No.
Makes it seem more real, builds the stakes. And then the ending is just cartoonishly absurd, and you don't believe any second of it. And it's well, I kind of ruined all of that. Everybody's praising all the it's all these practical effects. I was like, yeah, and then Tom Cruise evades a helicopter by running real fast. What are you talking about? So before I'm too negative, it's better than Matrix 4 as a sequel.
My headache is better than Matrix 4.
So my dad texted me after he watched it and said it was blank AF. What was he
cheesy.
Cheesy as fuck.
CAF scale.
In 5 years, if you're feeling the need for speed, do you pop in Top Gun 1 or Top Gun Maverick? 10 years from now, which
I
one
have
of
no
these
need
are
to
you
ever
rewatching?
see either one of these movies again.
Never again.
No, no.
Never.
Probably the first.
The first one, because
That's
you're gonna
how-
want to
that's
see
my
the "Take My Breath Away" and
No, no.
you could have had him, Mav. You got all the quotes that you
You
want.
could have had him, man. You could have had him.
So Top Gun #1, where do you rank in realism factor? What would you-
75.
75,
30.
30.
50.
We're at 50, 50-ish. It's a movie about a bunch of students trying to get the best grades in the class. You know, not
Nerds.
not super unrealistic of a. You know, it's pretty grounded. Where do you rank this film?
10.
10.
20.
20.
Top Gun, the original, far more realistic.
Absolutely.
Far more realistic.
I didn't care that they weren't in the airplanes. It just...
You know, ultimately the unrealistic stuff in Top Gun 1 to me is like, okay, in this action scene, if you actually know how like radar works, okay. But this movie, it's like, hold on, he's 60 and he's in a Mach 10 plane, and Jackson's fine.
many
He
levels.
evades a helicopter.
The
He steals a
mission,
50-year-old
everything.
plane. He owns a P-51 Mustang somehow.
He actually does.
Tom Cruise does.
course he
Captain
does.
Pete Mitchell
Doesn't.
on his Navy salary. I don't
Yeah.
know where he's getting the $4 million to buy a P-51.
The aviation and how they use aviation. They wouldn't use any of these weapons to do any of these missions.
We'll cover
No.
We'll cover the
Yes,
mission in
yes.
a little bit. I got a lot
10.
of thoughts.
I agree, 10.
A lot of thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah, 10.
On Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 97%
No.
score and a 99%
It was
audience
enjoyable.
score.
It was
Yeah,
fun.
so this is the flaw with Rotten Tomatoes. If someone gives it 2.5 out of 4 stars, Rotten Tomatoes just comes along and says that either calls it fresh or rotten, and then they just average that out. And so if everyone said, yeah, it was like okay, everyone said that, it could get a 100% score.
I mean, I walked out of there not saying I'll never get those 2 hours of my life back.
Right. That's a real high bar you're setting. I'm going rotten.
I think rotten. Yeah, I just rolled my eyes a lot.
Yeah.
Just a
Did
lot.
they do barrel rolls in
over
your
and
skull?
over again? Yeah.
Is the film a metaphor for baby boomers who refuse to retire while bringing back all their terrible nostalgia to ruin the present? Do you agree with that? I'm getting an off-screen, very, very enthusiastic response. Were we...
It was obvious pandering.
I grew up with that movie. I'm not sitting there
Okay,
going...
but it came out the year you were born.
Yeah, I grew up on it, though.
Yeah,
And
he
I saw
did.
that when I was 4, probably.
Probably less than a year old.
We expected. It was
If you
expected.
want baby boomer nostalgia porn, you're probably happy.
You saw the original movie on VHS, taped off of HBO.
A taped VHS.
Yes.
Buy it.
ripped off. It is at once like nostalgic, but also it does take itself seriously. And that's the
Oh,
part.
it takes itself very seriously.
Yeah, that's the part
Yeah.
where it's like,
Yeah, cringe.
yeah, that's what makes it cringe. Is that it's completely unironic.
A lot of people have been saying it's better than the original, which is interesting to me because Roger Ebert gave it 2.5 stars and said it's pretty exciting to watch the plane stuff, but it's bad when people talk to each other. It's like
Yeah, that's kind of how I
this
felt
is the
about
bar
Red
you're trying to
Movie.
clear. It wasn't like an amazing film. It's just like cemented in the cultural canon.
Yes.
When you look at other movies of that time,
Iron Eagle.
yes.
Oh, yeah,
it,
my
it
favorite.
It was much better
Yes.
Yes.
than other movies that came out that year.
It's the Dan Fouts of
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
Yes.
Put his stats on the screen, and that's like normal. But it's like not in 1979. It wasn't.
Right.
Should they have recruiters in the lobby so when people walk out of this film, they can
Join
get
the military?
recruited?
Well, there was like 2
To
Air Force
join
commercials before the
Scientology.
movie in ours.
They should have recruiters in the
Scientology.
lobby for Scientology.
Oh.
It's
Yeah.
like, hey, do you want to look like you've been in 0G soaking in stem cells?
Oh yeah.
What do you mean by that?
When Tom Cruise is pulling 9Gs, his face sags, you know, he looks his age.
He does. Yeah.
I think that means he's from a Scientology planet that has higher gravity.
I think
Why he looks so young. Have you ever seen the film Hot Shots?
so. Part two.
We're talking part.
Part one.
Yeah. Part 2 is a parody of Rambo. Part is a parody of Top Gun.
Right.
So I'm going to tell you the plot of Hot Shots. Topper Harley. Topper is his
Charlie
call
Sheen.
sign, Charlie Sheen. It opens on his dad leaving his co-pilot to die.
I'm losing control. Eject, mailman. Hit the silk. I can't get out. What are you doing? Buzz, get back here.
I mean, there is a God.
Ow, ow, oh, ow, 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 ow.
Then we cut to present day. Topper Harley is asked to return to active duty. He's kind of washed out at this point.
The Navy is embarking on a top-secret mission codenamed Sleepy Weasel. I'm giving you a second chance, something your father never had. You're the best of the best, Topper.
Topper gets into a feud with a pilot because it was his dad who Topper's dad let die.
That sounds like a rooster.
Sounds kind of like this.
Don't get too close. Let me handle my own affairs. He's so complex.
He blames Topper for his dad's death, thinks Topper must be dangerous also. We're just skipping over the fact that, like, you could be 60 and still be flying, right?
Yeah,
It's dead.
Dominic Farnham was my father. It was reckless, irresponsible flying, and you know it.
This is an incredible coincidence. But the hunter who mistakenly killed your father was Henry Pfaffenbach. My father.
My mother was a Pfaffenbach.
Doreen Pfaffenbach? From Minnesota?
Yeah.
Then we're cousins. We used to spend our summers in Eagle River.
Eagle River?
So their big new super mission, which is a mission with old planes, is led by a pilot who had been out of it, but is brought back for this one special mission.
Gentlemen, the success of Sleepy Weasel depends on our ability to maneuver below enemy radar. I want to see a major display of low-level flying. I'm at 150 feet. I'm at 3rd and Main.
Topper falls in love with a lady who is haunted by her previous relationship with another pilot.
But
Don't worry. Everything will be fine, I promise.
Boy, I hope so.
Topper leads the mission, while others think he is dangerous and shouldn't be the leader.
Mary! Things just couldn't be better for us. I'm so blessed.
Oh, your life insurance forms came for you to sign.
Oh.
Oh, my mirror.
Huh.
I'll get another pen.
No need. I'll sign it when I get back. And my investigation into the assassination of JFK
You found the evidence you were looking for.
goes all the way to the White House.
Do you want me to hold it for you?
No, it'll be safe right here.
Then we go to the finale, the big mission. It's an attack on an Iraqi nuclear plant. In the middle of the battle, Topper learns that his father was not actually at fault, and he had actually tried to save his co-pilot, his backseater.
Topper, this could well be your only opportunity to save the mission and solve your personal problems. All in one fell swoop.
But his self-confidence is then restored, and Topper single-handedly defeats many Iraqi planes and bombs the nuclear plant, which hits Saddam Hussein directly in the face.
Of course.
Sure.
Oldest trick in the book.
Oh, boys! I'm on their tails. I got me a nuclear weapons plant to wax. You're committing suicide! We are getting close. Missiles, still with me, come on. Sayonara, Sodom. Come in. Are you all right? Topper, acknowledge. Topper, do you read?
Is Top Gun Maverick closer to Hot Shots than it is Top Gun 1?
I think it's a rhetorical question.
I think it is too. Yeah, he's decided.
This is the plot of Top Gun Maverick.
made up his
Top
mind.
Gun Maverick remade Hot Shots, and not Top Gun, right?
That's right.
I think there's going to be a clip.
We don't have time for some asinine plan thought up on Capitol Hill. Their missiles will be launch capable in 3 weeks. Done one hell of a job keeping these memories alive out here. I've come to pull you out of the reserves and restore you to temporary active duty. You've been chosen to command a highly classified operation.
A nuclear weapons compound embedded inside the Caviar Gorge in Sector 10.
This is the bullseye you have to hit. Reactor evaporation ducts. You'll have to send a Maverick into each one of these shafts to blow that compound sky high. Those mountains are protected by surface-to-air missiles that have to be knocked out by the ground unit before you can even fly through them.
Once it is destroyed, the SAM sites will cease to operate and the planes can go in.
The valley up ahead is similar to the terrain near Caviar Gorge. The target destruction can only be achieved by low-level approach. F-16s will run under 400 feet. MiGs will provide high-altitude air cover.
Alpha 2, are you in position?
I'm going to be in that seat with you if you don't punch up your airspeed. Sir, is there anything wrong? You're flying 200 knots slower than the profile.
It's the turbulence.
Turbulence? What turbulence?
Kick up your speed, Major. It's too tight.
Pull out, sir. Pull out.
Major, the choice is in your hand. Move the goddamn stick.
Training cycle 3 will now begin.
All right, let's run those canyons.
Settle down, sir. Settle down. It's too tight down here to make those kind of moves, sir.
There's no room.
Climb, sir. Climb.
The mission. Y'all vacate the vehicle now. So you gotta stand up.
It's easily one of the best sequels ever made.
Excellent film. It's a film full of cliches. I mean, it's just one cliche after another, really. Excellent film.
I wasn't ready to make a sequel until we had a special story worthy of a sequel.
So our actors went through 3 months of grueling training.
The Navy says if you eject, you have to be able to survive in the water.
It's intense. You're flipped inverted, and you're having to try and get out.
From there, Tom designed this all-encompassing aviation training for all the actors.
Everybody thought it would be impossible for actors to really be in the jets.
But that's the gift that Tom gave us, that by the time we got up there, we could handle it.
It still blows my mind that we've done this.
You just can't create this kind of experience unless you shoot it live.
We spent $170 million, invented new cameras, reinvented aerial photography. Our actors underwent grueling training both in the air and underwater. And now, an exclusive, behind-the-scenes look at the intense writing process that went into crafting the story.
All right, first scene, we've got Tom Cruise in the SR-72 from Lockheed Skunk Works.
Yes.
Mach 10.
No Navy pilots for that.
No.
Yeah, I don't know why the Navy's doing that.
Who would be doing that?
Air Force
slash civilian.
Space Force.
Civilian slash test pilots.
All right, but he's in a Mach 10 aircraft, and it breaks up, and he then, like, seems like he time travels back to the 1950s.
Yeah.
Right? It was like, did he just go back in time 70 years?
I had big problems with that opening scene.
I like
yes.
this.
Well, he like steals the plane.
Well,
I liked it when he walked in.
Now,
the
the best cinematography is the scene where they take off and the
It's not
goes
buzzing
over
the tower.
No, but
it's as close as we get, really.
The vortices and
killed the security guard at the end of the runway.
and the little shack.
I've seen that actually happen in real life.
So apparently that roof on the shack thing was just an accident.
Yeah.
Not a planned thing.
Really?
It's like, that's
Happy
impressive.
accident.
So tell me about ejecting at Mach 10.
Before that,
Okay.
He's approaching Mach 10,
right?
And then they flip to this scene where he's in a bank turn.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm like, there's.
I've
no way.
never
If you're
taken a
doing-
physics class in my entire life, and even I was like, "Yeah,
That ain't
no,
happening.
that's not right."
If you're doing a high speed run, you're not turning at all. Period.
None.
And if you were to turn like that, he would have been pulling
The-
like
the-
19 Gs.
And your aircraft would have been in a
Exactly.
million pieces. But would he survive a 10G?
No.
So he would have had to have waited through the breakup.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at Mach 1.2 you can survive an ejection.
Maybe.
It has happened. No.
But you don't ever fly again.
No, and like your arms are broken to the extent that like the only thing holding them on is the skin.
Yes.
Like that.
You're
that's
like
what
one of
happens.
those like
You
things
become
at
a
car
wacky
dealers.
waving inflatable tube man. So he's hanging on until it slows down and
Right.
then ejecting. Or it's got a pod like an F-111.
Could be.
Maybe.
The only ejections I've ever read about or ever saw were at low speed. We had a wing commander at Mount Home eject out of a 111, broke his back.
Yep.
How-
Your
okay.
career is usually over after you eject. It's a terrible choice.
Isn't it automatically?
It's better than the other choices that you have in the moment usually. But
Sure.
and usually, if you're
On the
ejecting,
internet.
you've made a big mistake. And
So they're not putting you in another aircraft.
right. Yeah.
Because you've cost the Navy
Because
or
they
the
cost
Air Force.
$200 million.
Yeah. I guess if you got a 4-star admiral taking care of you, but
Yeah.
So
Remember,
can you comment on the level of nepotism there? What is the likelihood
like
of
Hollywood.
that level of nepotism in
we did have
the
this thing called a
military?
C daddy term. People
Wait,
who,
the letter C or SEA?
SEA.
SEA.
Okay.
That's the part you need clarification
well,
on.
yeah.
Near the beginning of the film, Pete Mitchell whips out his exact same leather jacket
Yes.
from the first film.
Yes.
Do you own any articles of clothing that
got
you
my
owned
jacket.
in 1986?
I've got my flight jacket.
You still got your flight jacket.
Do you wear it regularly?
No.
Your shoes on
Motorcycle from '86 too. Same motorcycle.
When was the
wearing
last
his
time you
jacket.
wore that flight jacket?
It's been a decade since I've even tried it on.
So he still has his motorcycle from 1986. So when you bought,
Is it the same motorcycle?
he,
Yeah,
at the
exactly
beginning he
the
whips
same.
out the exact same one. Later he drives a newer one.
Right.
He kept that motorcycle. So like when he upgraded and bought a new one, or he upgraded, bought a new car, he just kept the old one and traded in.
No, it's nostalgic to him.
Walk me through this. The car you owned in 1986, when you sold it and upgraded, why do you keep that? You know, have a garage somewhere. You keep that 1984 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme or whatever. I don't know. What were you driving? We did beach volleyball.
Yeah.
But now we
No.
did football.
We did beach football. So it broke new ground, you know, they really changed it up.
Okay.
Beach
Well, it had to
football.
show them all without their shirts
Yeah, it'll be an
on.
Olympic sport pretty soon.
All the actors were getting as ripped as possible.
Of course.
For that. And they're like cutting weight, starving themselves, what all the things you do to cut weight for this one scene. Glenn Powell, who plays Hangman, he had to be cut off. The makeup department said, no more. You've had too much of what? Too much coconut oil.
Too much
They
coconut.
said, you've put on too much coconut oil. You have to stop. He said,
Yeah.
I'm trying to really get, and they're like, you're going to be a greasy guy. They're going to be like, who's this greasy guy?
Right.
They cut him off. No more coconut oil. Anyway, they shoot the scene. Everyone's as ripped as they can. That night, they all go eat milkshakes and cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
Oh, we're feeling good now.
Yeah.
And Tom Cruise calls them all up. He's like, oh, we got to do reshoots. Didn't look great. So they're like, oh, they had to
Right.
cut weight again, and they reshot that scene.
Very normal, healthy
Yeah,
behavior.
very normal
Very
behavior from a
healthy.
60-year-old man.
Right.
You guys got to starve yourselves for another week. No, take my breath away.
And it was
They didn't do
Gaga.
it. Yeah, they did a Lady Gaga song. Made absolutely no impression on me.
No, me either.
Can you name any lyric? Can you tell me the name of the Lady Gaga song?
No.
I want a Lady Gaga
remember seeing
remake
it on the
of Take
roll.
My Breath Away.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Right?
Like,
Right.
oh,
Wasn't it good?
this is
So
the
instead
song.
of iconic Take My Breath Away, I wanted a Hans Zimmer cover of Take My Breath Away. It's like an
Yeah.
Inception bois. And instead we got a Cialis commercial.
That was, or is
In
this
the-
just
in the
like
past.
I'm a confident heterosexual actor portion of the movie?
I mean, at least they didn't pair him up with a 29-year-old woman.
Right. Well,
That's
the
true.
woman that owned the bar, how old was she?
She's like 50.
I didn't know she was that old.
She was in a David Bowie film.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then when she comes on screen for the first time, David Bowie was playing in the background. So in the military, before you have a mission, we got to decide who goes on this mission. How many seasons of American Idol do you do to select the top 4 teams for the mission?
Whoever didn't
Is there
piss
a
off the
swimsuit
commander the
competition?
most.
It's more like, yeah, who are his
Who pissed off the
favorite
commander?
people? But this whole thing where we're separately choosing flight crew to do this thing that we're going to fly onto a carrier.
Yeah.
That whatever flight crews are on that carrier, you just
This
decide.
carrier's in the region.
Right. This
Who's
carrier
your
will
best
do the
4
mission.
crews? Go.
Go do this mission. Yes.
This suicide mission.
Yes.
Sure.
But I will say, when I was getting trained for Tomahawk missiles, we had a surface admiral, and there was this target over the horizon. These targets you have to figure out, is it a tanker, is it an enemy, before you launch a missile. His words haunt me. He says, okay, oldest plane, youngest crew, go visually ID this aircraft, this vessel. And in the moment I'm thinking, that would be me.
There's an Expendables sequel.
Hey, we don't have
Yeah.
to pay him retirement pay.
That's right. They just
Pension.
This
go.
is, you're talking Tomahawk, anti-ship Tomahawk?
Yes.
TASMs?
Yes.
How many Tomahawk missiles did they launch in that movie?
I tried to count, and I'm going to say it was about 20. So these are the blurbs on Rotten Tomatoes. And a few that I wrote that are not real reviews.
I feel like you're choosing a crew like in the movie. Like, this is a test for us.
The only flaw is that it isn't 7 hours longer.
Thank God it wasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
Top Gun Maverick is such a perfect piece of formula filmmaking, it's impossible to dislike.
It is formula filmmaking. It's just like, we're just going to check every single box.
Yes.
But yeah, impossible to dislike about formula filmmaking or like.
I hope you have the high heart rate alerts on your smartwatch shut off while you're in the theater.
Yeah.
Because you're probably going to get a notification every 15 minutes. Now, you had your smartwatch on.
I did.
We checked your heart rate.
We did.
You could see, oh, we walked in the theater.
We walked
were
up
in
the
theater.
stairs.
We left the theater. That was in there.
Yeah.
Not very. We have.
It was a trough for sure.
I got
Scientific
tired in the movie.
evidence.
I almost fell asleep.
You give it a fresh rating, but you almost fell asleep.
Well, yeah. I was very excited.
I was sadder at the funeral than I thought I would be. And I'm not even a Val Kilmer fan.
It is kind of weird because he like really has like throat cancer and
he's like really kind of dying in real life.
A scene where Tom Cruise takes his wings and pounds them into the coffin. That's a SEAL thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought so too. It's like
That's a Navy
they're
SEAL
stealing
thing.
from the SEALs.
Yeah.
Like, do aviators do that now?
This highway to the danger zone is full of potholes and police speed traps. Your need for speed will ruin your suspension and put points on your license.
Look at the expression on his face. It's got to be something he wrote, right?
This is me trying to imitate the way they write.
He wishes
these
he wrote
terrible,
it.
terrible
I love
things.
it. It just washes
It's
it across his face.
clearly was me. My bad
No
poker,
poker face, huh?
Because you got to throw in some puns. This highway to the danger zone. You know? It never pretends to be anything other than what its core audience wants it to be.
I love that. That's exactly right. It never.
That's a good quote.
That part you like. Next part. A thoughtful, finely crafted action film. Thoughtful.
Entertaining.
It checks all the boxes. If that's what they mean by thoughtful. Then
It's literally the opposite. Like, don't think while you watch
Thoughtless.
this movie.
They literally say, don't
suspend
think.
all your disbelief.
Don't think, act. Or don't,
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah,
act?
that's a
Don't think,
theme
do,
of
don't
them.
think, act.
You think up there you're dead.
The original had much more comedy in it. Much more funny lines.
Yeah,
You
didn't
gotta
take
have
itself so
carnal
seriously.
knowledge of a lady this time. Top Gun Maverick is not a dislikable movie, but it's also a little depressing because of where it says movies are going, what it says about the lack of creativity making its way on screen.
I agree with that. They could have been.
I
They could have had
yeah.
so many more storylines.
But we just rehashed the plot lines we knew.
But we knew that was going to be the case.
MBAs over artists in the movie industry.
I feel like this is very much, it feels like a movie written by a committee.
Yes. It's a little depressing because of where it says movies are going, what it says about the lack of creativity making its way on screen.
I agree.
That's called a fresh rating up by Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
This movie was depressing because it's saying Hollywood sucks and this is where we're going.
We're going, but it's
fresh
fresh.
rating. Top Gun Maverick, action soars while creativity nosedives. That's the headline on this review.
Action
Again,
not soar.
Fresh?
Given a fresh rating. If you've lost that loving feeling, Maverick is here to roofie you back to life. I wrote that. You're supposed to call me out on that. I've got some reviews off of Reddit. These are Reddit comments, so you know this is the pinnacle of cinema right here.
Quality, yeah.
I loved how they really drilled the flight path into you throughout the movie. When it got to pulling it off, the movie trusted that you understood the mission without holding your hand.
Very subtle.
Yeah, it was subtle.
No.
But it was
They didn't talk about it.
No. It is pounded like this is the reality of this mission.
Over and over and over.
Come on, man, we're 12 seconds
We saw
late.
them practice it 40 times.
And
oh my god.
that was
Yeah,
the
what do they
worst
think?
part of
What
the
do they
movie.
think we are, morons?
It does exactly what you want a movie to do. Keep you on the edge of your seat, which feels like something we don't get often anymore.
Yeah, movies these days don't end in 45-minute action scenes enough. We need more giant, long action scenes.
Exactly.
Movie of the year, and it's not even close.
Oh, man.
No way.
We're only halfway through the year.
Movie
first
of
of all.
the year, or are we in trouble?
Do they all have lead poisoning?
That's the lead expert.
That's right.
My mom is gesturing, yes. We all have lead poisoning.
Oh, okay.
Did they ever specify what country
No,
it was?
but they had F-14s, so, like, who's it going to be?
Does Iran have 14s?
Yes.
Did we sell it to them? Or
Yes.
We
sold the Shah.
before the fall.
This is like the real life America where we sold F-14s to Iran. And that's the
Well, and
universe
also,
this movie is taking place
This country has Sukhoi 57 felons, which there are 6 of ever made so far, and Russia's not
You might have to
exporting them.
say what that is.
It's an airplane.
5th generation fighter. So this isn't even present day. It has to be like in the future far enough that Russia is exporting these. My favorite was at the end when they got out of the plane and you could almost feel the "you can be my wingman"
anytime
moment was about to happen. But they looked at each other and embraced. It's those subtle nods that made me enjoy the movie tremendously.
Very
subtle.
It's a very subtle film.
Very subtle
Very
film.
subtle film.
Very subtle film.
Very subtle.
subtle.
Very subtle film.
Very subtle film.
Very subtle. Very subtle. Very subtle film.
Very subtle film. Let's say we did a census of all the captains in the Navy. How many of them do you think are 60?
None.
0. Okay.
They're
So
retired.
That's what
0.
That's what I was looking for.
They're retired.
0.
Okay. Goose's son is call
Rooster.
sign Rooster.
Rooster.
Okay. What's his name? Rooster's real name is Bradley Bradshaw.
Bradshaw. That's right.
His name is Brad Bradshaw. Rooster is very upset with Maverick.
Oh, he's pissed.
Because he pulled his papers from the Naval
Yeah, what's that mean?
Academy.
You pull your papers.
Can you explain this to me? Can some random captain
Pull your papers.
Did he sneak into the Naval Academy, Mission Impossible style, and avoid the floor sensors and pull some paperwork out? Like, wow, what does this mean?
No, he went to Val Kilmer.
He called in a favor.
Yeah, he called in
man.
some anti-nepotism.
Yeah, I think so. That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
He set his career back 4 years.
And that didn't make any sense at all. Like, what's magic about 4 years? Like, if you made a promise to his mother that you would stop this, you would just stop it forever.
Yeah.
And then something happened at 4 years where he said, maybe that promise wasn't really a promise.
Well,
and she's dead anyway. So.
If he didn't get in the Naval Academy, couldn't he have just been like, I want to be a pilot, though. I'm going to go to the Air Force.
Good.
He doesn't have any connections in the Air Force. It's
or you can go to ROTC.
Right? Something.
Yeah.
I think we should have had Meg Ryan back. Personally.
I agree.
And I think the love interest should have been Tom Cruise, Meg Ryan.
Oh, that'd be good.
And then he hooks up with Meg Ryan. They're keeping it a secret. You don't want Rooster to find out. And Rooster at some point calls Tom Cruise a motherfucker, and Tom goes, "How'd you know?"
My experience was very few people had super cool call signs because other people gave you your call sign.
When I was in the service, all pilots had the same call sign. Asshole.
Yes, yeah.
Yours was
Joker. I think that's a cool call sign.
I like that one.
I think that's cool.
Pretty good. But it wasn't your first call sign.
No, that was actually, it started with Joker and then it became Peabody.
Oh, it went to Mr. Peabody.
Yeah, because I look like Sherman in like the cartoon Sherman and Mr. Peabody.
Yeah.
And they didn't think Sherman was funny enough. It's common on a carrier is for you to be told to hold up on the catapult and to set your brakes, but forget to take your brakes off before you take off flying.
So when the catapult goes, you just are screeching
Skid.
down the runway.
You're just screeching down the runway, and both your tires
blow out,
and then so your call sign becomes boom boom. Yeah. We had a guy that fell off the ship. His call sign was Splash. One guy.
See previous episode. So Bob was played by Lewis Pullman. His dad is Bill Pullman in Independence Day. He's the president who flies an F-18.
He does. That's a good movie.
Fun facts.
That is a fun fact.
I like that movie.
You only get one F-bomb in a PG-13.
True.
Do you remember the
you go to
F-bomb?
R-rated.
I do, because I remember thinking, oh, there it is.
Fuck, I don't know.
On the way home.
Sukhoi Pak-FA Su-57 fell into
Trying
the
to get into the
fighter, and it does a Cobra maneuver. And he says, I think, what the fuck?
Yeah, what the fuck? That's exactly what he said.
I don't understand this. The big maneuver the 5th generation fighter did, it was like, isn't this the thing Maverick's been doing for 30 years? He puts on the brakes and does the thing. He does a Cobra. A Pugachev's Cobra, if you will.
Yeah.
They mention he's the only guy in the last 30 years who's had 3 kills.
Right.
And as they were like laying out the mission, it's like, there's going to be these 2 interceptors. And I was like, he's going to be an ace by the end of the movie.
5.
Did I say that?
You did.
Like an hour before it happened?
You
did. He's an ace now. I was like, oh, okay. In a July 2019 interview, Kelly McGillis, the love interest from the first film, said she was not asked to appear in the movie. When asked why she thought she wasn't contacted, she said, quote, I'm old and I'm fat and I look age appropriate.
Well, good for her.
That was her response.
Good for her. I like that.
She's probably right.
She's probably dead on.
Jennifer Connelly's character.
Yeah, the barmaid.
Right.
Bar owner.
Anyone
Penny.
remember her name?
Penny.
She drives a 1973 Porsche 911.
Yes, she does.
Just like Charlie Blackwood, who drove at the time a 1958 Porsche 356. Both ladies are into antique Porsches. So it makes sense that she would be into Tom Cruise because she's into antiques.
Yes.
Just like Tom. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he is an antique.
Yeah. So she drives a $200,000 car. She owns a sailboat.
Yes, a nice
And a
sailboat.
bar.
She owns
Very
a
nice.
bar.
I'm going to say the sailboat's worth
The
more than...
sailboat's probably the most
Oh,
expensive
yeah,
of
that's a
those
big
three
boat.
items.
That's an expensive toy.
So Admiral's daughter is really rich.
No.
So Tom Cruise has a P-51, which is really Tom Cruise's P-51.
Yeah, it really is his
Worth
plane.
$4 million. In that garage, he also has an Aston Martin. It's a Le Mans winning Aston Martin.
Whoa.
Worth approximately $22 million.
Yeah.
He probably invested in Bitcoin early.
P-51s.
He bought Apple stock right after the first movie.
And Pete Mitchell, he's a big crypto bro.
That actually makes a lot of sense.
It does kind of check out.
There were so many weird people that I knew in the Navy, and many of them were into weird investment schemes, and some of them became rich and then poor and then rich again, just doing these things, and so it almost fits.
Let's talk about overstressing an airframe.
I've been there, done that.
Maverick's patented slam on the brakes maneuver that he's been doing for
Cobra.
30 years. How many G's is he pulling on that?
A lot.
A lot.
More than
Oh,
7.5.
baby.
Well, it's not just the G's. He's probably putting his flaps down, doing all kinds of
going
weird...
overspeeding the flaps.
Yeah.
It's not a sustained.
They show him doing it. The
Sure.
flaps.
It's not like he's doing a sustained like 9 G's for a minute and he's gonna pass out.
Right. No.
It looks like it's 15 G's
It's
for
violent.
a quarter second.
It's
right?
very violent.
I don't think it would work on anybody.
Right.
It depends on how many
is-
G's he was pulling before
Well,
he
this
did
is
the maneuver.
my thought is whatever they do, I'm going to slam on the brakes and do this, and then I come back level and I'm behind them. I was like, so the other pilot's just like, he's doing a thing. Okay, I'm just going to keep flying straight and level and do nothing about it.
Right.
Like,
You cannot eat the chihuahua.
The mission.
talking about the mission. Mission time. What's the
very
mission?
distracting.
Tell me about the mission.
So-
Why didn't Tom Cruise look in the camera and say, I think this mission is impossible?
Well,
It's a death mission.
If he turns the camera and goes, this mission, it just got a hell of a lot more impossibler. Boom. Then you do the bit.
Well, my thought bubble when they first started is like, 2-meter target. I used to shoot
Womp rats.
and
The shaft is 2 meters wide. It's ray shielded, so you'll have to use your proton torpedoes.
With 2 meters wide, it's nearly impossible, even with a computer. It's not impossible. I used to bullseye womp rats in my T-16 back home.
It doesn't take a Star Wars geek to notice that they're ripping off Star Wars.
yes, I mean, it was the first thing.
Very obvious.
Even the visual, the dot dot dot.
You go through the trench run, and then you hit the 2-meter exhaust port.
I saw a magazine cover, I think it was California Magazine. It was this fighter pilot in the cockpit with 2 jets behind him in the air. And I said, this is Star Wars on Earth.
So this,
It's
you
just
have
the Death
to
Star.
hit the exhaust port and blow it up, so the next guy can hit
get
it,
in.
and it'll go deeper.
Right.
What is that? I don't understand.
That
at
doesn't
all.
make any sense
Makes
to
no
me.
Well, why didn't they just drop that bomb from 30,000 feet?
Right. So step 1, B-2s fly over at 50,000 feet and drop giant penetrator bombs that can go through 10 feet of concrete.
And you don't have to go into a...
Why wouldn't they use stealth planes?
They would.
Yes.
So there is a line in there. They talk about how it's like got GPS blocking in this canyon.
Okay.
So like no tomahawks, I guess.
I guess.
Yeah,
but Tomahawk uses photography.
Right.
And
Yes.
so you don't need GPS.
So
you can fly in there visually. Especially with this place. I mean,
Right.
it's the perfect visual thing
Right.
for a Tomahawk
Yeah.
missile. There's a small box.
They're the perfect.
Satellite picture. Nothing changes.
You can drive it right in the hole.
Right.
It's not moving.
So Tomahawks, I think in the first Gulf War, did not even have GPS yet.
Well,
the
the
first
Ronald
Gulf
Evans
War, it was all like visual guidance.
Visual
they had to
photography.
you take your time and give it the maps and draw out the like.
Yeah, there's
here
a
are
famous
the
Wolf Blitzer.
Wolf Blitzer. I was trying to tell her the story and I said it was Geraldo. I got the wrong. He got in trouble for a different thing of giving away stuff. But
He's like broadcasting, hey, these Tomahawk missiles keep flying over this mosque, and sometimes they go right and sometimes they go left, and then They destroy the mosque the next day, and because
tomahawks are programmed using like known landmarks.
Visual landmarks,
you go here
yes.
and you turn left. You go to this
Right.
canyon. You take a right.
An aircraft umbrella high enough to make any attack ineffective.
I don't have a clue what you're talking about, Phil. Not a fucking clue.
But they had GPS blockers behind.
Just doesn't make a very good movie.
Yeah, you can't make a good movie about brave programming.
Tomahawk missiles.
Brave people.
Brave tomahawk programmers.
They would have been fired from a submarine, probably.
Even if we give them, all right, you can't use tomahawks for whatever. We got to make a fun movie.
Got it.
With pilots.
Yeah, I'm in.
Sure.
I'm in.
Okay.
Let's just create something. We're in a fun movie.
Why is there a time? There's a time limit. They have a countdown clock, right? They got a ticking clock. He's got to go through the canyon in this set amount of time.
They had to get in and out before the aircraft could take off from the base.
The 5th generation interceptors will come get them.
Right.
So they have to go fast through the canyon.
Faster, they have to get there and they have to destroy that thing.
So they have to pull those high G maneuvers through a canyon
before
the interceptors get there. What alerts the interceptors to them being there?
The bombs.
Yeah, the bombs in the airport.
Yeah.
The tomahawks.
Right.
That hit the.
They go back to guard the base.
Right.
Right.
Let me give you an alternate scenario. Okay. Right. They're going through the canyon, and the moment they drop their bombs is when the tomahawks hit the airbase, and we time those up. Which do we do this? Do we time up strikes?
And you get all the time you want to go through the canyon.
Then you don't have to go pulling all these G's through the canyon. You can go very slowly.
Very leisurely.
And then when you get to hit the target, you're not flying in super fast having to pull a 9G thing, which then takes you too high. Because you can come in slow, nice and low and
Do
slow.
your thing.
Make sure you hit it.
Yes.
Makes no sense.
You could fly slow enough, a guy could drop a grenade out the window.
This whole ticking clock
Roll
thing
your window
is
down.
totally contrived nonsense.
I buy that.
Right. So you can't use tomahawks for a contrived reason. You can't use stealth planes because
drones.
You can't use B-2s because you can't use these
There's
because
this romanticism with pilots and aircraft.
Right.
That this whole movie's about.
What if we had the tomahawks take out all those SAMs?
Yes.
Yeah, yes. Why not? Why not?
Then you can fly over a few hundred feet
up.
Nice
This
and
guy
slow
didn't
and
even go to the
slow.
Naval Academy.
I didn't go to the Naval Academy and the Air Force Academy. I'm like, why are you? Oh.
He just
I was
played
asking
video
the same
games.
questions during the
I
movie.
played video games.
Once it is destroyed, the SAM sites will cease to operate and the planes can go in.
Didn't they say that these were radar?
Yes. So you have to go through the canyon.
Right.
Because if you go too high, we get a nice
SAM's
graphic describing us. If you
Yeah,
go too
the
high,
SAMs.
radar picks you up, and the SAM sites that are all along the canyon
top.
will attack you.
So they're radar guided.
They're radar guided SAMs, and when they launch at you, what do?
You fire chaff.
But in the movie, they drop flares.
Flares.
Yeah.
And flares don't work on
Flares
radar.
work on infrared.
Right.
Did you think of this at all? The flares are cool. Chaff, what's that?
Chaff makes me think of the Bible.
I got one question for you. Shoot. What is a chafing dish for?
If a infrared missile gets fooled by flares, does it blow up?
No.
Or would it just like fly through it in the wrong direction? and
Exactly.
miss?
I think, yeah.
They show
They all blow up.
They all blow up on the flare.
You only get G's when you're in a turn. It's like the roller coaster. You feel the G's at the bottom of the hill. When they're climbing out, it should be no G's. But as they're
But
climbing,
their faces were.
their face, yeah, they're climbing. It's like, why are they? I mean,
It's just when you start the turn.
It's just when you start,
that,
you
and
get
the
that.
rest should be-
and not in your climb out. But they're like 8 G's, 9 G's.
They needed the geography to have a loop-de-loop, you
Yeah.
know, so they could do a whole loop in there. Why can Tom Cruise pull more G's than anybody else? And
In
hold those
general,
G's better?
my experience, the physiology of pulling G's and the people who can pull a lot of G's are really short, stocky people like this dog. The best aerial team I ever saw was the Canadian Snowbirds. I mean, and they look like the 7 Dwarfs walking out to their planes. They were these short,
guys.
stocky guys.
Breathing.
So every character in this movie is the
Too tall.
exact opposite.
Too tall. Except for
Danica
Phoenix.
Patrick, you know.
Yeah.
Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix, yeah.
Who crashes and then rises from the ashes to
Yes.
be in the final mission.
The first time I re-enlisted in the Air Force, I did it with the Canadian Snowbirds.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Was my characterization of those
Perfect.
dudes
Every ejection you know of involves serious injury.
serious injury into their career? The typical one is if you don't have your feet
Yes, pull
down,
back.
the seat is going to break both your femurs.
That's why you have straps on your. That's why you put straps around your
and then you're going to
ankles.
land in a parachute.
Right.
You know, and so, yes.
But some aircraft have straps on the ankles that actually pull your feet back.
The aircraft I flew most, the design was
S3?
you S3, you went through the canopy. The canopy was designed to be breakaway.
Wait, so your head breaks the...
Well, I've never seen is the sights.
The top of the...
The top of the seat
That's
breaks
not
it.
a... That's
Does it
not
have
a
like a pointy
glass.
thing on the top?
Yes.
So that, like...
You're wearing a diamond-tipped helmet.
Wash out! What are you doing here?
So this super advanced nuclear uranium enrichment facility in not Iran, protected by
Enemy.
Sam's...
And a ventilation shaft.
It's got one ventilation shaft.
Why does it have a ventilation shaft?
They gotta ventilate, man. Can you think of a way to defend this canyon that's under radar?
Sure. Like the laser, lasers pointing through the canyon that would set off.
Oh, like Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
Or entrapment. Or
Yeah.
Catherine Zeta-Jones has to squeeze her booty underneath it.
That's
or
tough.
just some cables.
Cables.
This is
Yeah,
my
cables.
point. This is my point. Can we talk about cables?
Just-
Barrage balloons?
Yeah,
Barrage
just
balloons?
anything that
would block them.
That would, yeah.
Like a physical obstruction.
This is a World War II technology,
Yeah.
probably earlier. If you see pictures of like the D-Day landings, you'll see balloons. They're holding up these wires all over the place so that if Germans tried to come and shoot up the beach, their wings will get chopped off by these wires.
Surely they can come up with that.
You don't need radar-guided SAMs to cover this.
Well, the
They
whole
only
reason...
work above the same.
Yeah, they don't work into the canyon.
They
at
don't
all.
point
It's like,
down.
Can we talk about the Admiral, John Hamm? Is that square with your experience of admirals?
No.
You don't think?
No.
You don't think most admirals are like sexy Mad Men type characters?
He's playing the police chief in a buddy cop movie.
You are a loose cannon. You gotta give me your gun and your badge.
Exactly.
And then he steals his gun and his badge back, and he goes and catches the bad guys.
Anyway, yeah, exactly, yeah.
What are the chances an admiral is like sitting in on classes?
Zero.
Zero, yeah.
I kept looking for the aide because I used to be the aide. It's like, where's the aide
Do
following
you
me
have
around here?
a lot of classes in the hangar while there's
None.
flybys
None.
going on?
No,
You do that a lot?
none. Zero. None.
I got in trouble one time for saying in public that all generals have AIDS. It was at the NCO club on a microphone, but And I got up
Why do you have a microphone?
Because we were at the NCO club in there, and I got up on stage and said, "Hey, all generals have AIDS."
So they did a good fake out because I was like, comic relief characters / the black guy will die at the midpoint. I thought Bob.
No, I knew Bob wasn't gonna die.
I was like, if you want us to get sad the way when you kill Goose,
Yeah,
it would be
Bob would be there.
Yeah, Bob
the
would
way
be
to
the
go.
sweet
I was like,
loving.
maybe it'll be Bob.
I liked Bob. Bob was kind of like me.
Kind of like
I was
Bob.
just kind of the boring, Mr.
Mr.
Peabody.
Peabody in the backseat
exactly.
going,
That was
I'm all right.
That was
We
me.
can do this.
That's me.
Yeah.
I like Bob.
So they went with the black guy. They did a fake out, and then they did Phoenix and Bob, and that was a fake out. And then it was Iceman.
Tom Cruise crashes, right? He ejects.
When
right?
Rooster ejects, how far apart are these two people? Tom Cruise runs a 10K to go tackle him. Is the point. A helicopter shows up and fires, 20mm chain gun at him, and he hides behind a log. So it's Star Wars, right?
Yep, it is.
You hit the ventilation shaft.
Yeah.
Just like The Force Awakens, where we kill off Han
the
Solo
mentor.
halfway through. We
Right.
got to kill off one of the legacy characters, so
Yeah.
we're all sad.
Yeah.
The young hero from the old one now becomes the mentor. When the final weapon hits the thing, he does not use the targeting, doesn't use the computer.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Use the force,
The trench run to
Yep.
hit the exhaust port to
Yes.
kill the Doomsday device.
Right.
Then we have the rogue, selfish dude who is not part of the final mission. The Han Solo Hangman.
Fellas, this here's Bagman.
Hangman.
Whatever.
He saves the day right at the end, saves the main character.
Right.
Comes in. He wasn't part of the mission. Wasn't supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Nope, but he came in.
Right.
Must not vomit.
You're all clear, kid. Let's blow this thing and go home. Nah, I bet you said that to a lot of men.
Right.
Also, just like in Force Awakens, they bring back the nostalgia vehicle. They find it in a junkyard and fly that to safety. It works it's been a junkyard for 30 years, and
It
works perfectly, just like the F-14 at the end of this film.
I did appreciate they understood how to work a huffer.
Yes. Let's talk about
electricity.
Okay, so
that they couldn't just hop in the plane. Now, I will say, I never learned how to work a huffer.
I did.
So we got a person here who knows how to work a
Dash
huffer.
60s, we call them.
It takes them how long?
Less than a minute.
Okay. What does it really take? If you
Well, it
can
takes
guesstimate?
2 or 3 minutes for a huffer to even come up to speed.
Is there fuel in this plane?
Yeah, well...
Are they keeping their 50-year-old F-14s fueled? Are they keeping weapons
Why
on
did they
them?
have it in a shelter on the runway?
Now, the weapons...
No.
That's a big...
They're not keeping weapons.
No,
right?
no. That would be... That's stupid.
I was like, okay, I'm sure this takes longer to start up. But I'll give you, they spent some time on, when this hits this line, you hit this button, you got to pull this off. It's like, all right, they're acknowledging
I was
the fact
pretty proud of that.
You need a little help to start a plane.
Yes, exactly.
It doesn't have it instantly.
I was impressed that they included a huffer.
We did that.
Yeah.
What state do you think the Iranian F-14s are in right now? They haven't had access to legit spare parts since 1979.
Oh, they're called what we called cabled aircraft.
Cabled.
Cabled means you take parts off of one to fix another.
Right.
And then that becomes a cable queen. Without spare parts,
and they don't have weapons loaded up on them.
They will not have weapons.
Is this the only one that's left? It's got all the spare parts from the other 7.
Could be the cable queen.
This is the one.
It was actually a museum.
It's for the admiral's daughter to fly in.
But they were pulling pins. I thought that was pretty cool.
They knew what to pull.
I want to give them a little credit for a thing that I think a lot of people will probably say is unrealistic. They show up at the airbase after it's been tomahawked. 2 dudes dressed as pilots show up and can just run to the plane.
Well, I mean,
I think, you know what?
That's realistic.
There's a lot of chaos. I don't think you're like, oh, those are Americans at a distance. I think.
When I worked Victor Alert, which was...
What's Victor?
Victor Alert at RAF Lake and Heath was airplanes that were on alert with Coors silver bullets loaded. Nuclear weapons.
We called those Coors silver bullets.
I called them Coors silver bullets.
You called them, or is that a general?
No, that's what everybody called them. Silver
Everybody
bullets. So when they blow the alarm, we have to go in, the crew chiefs have to go in, power the aircraft up, start the engines, get ready. So all the aircrew does is run to the aircraft. And that's kind of like what that scene in the movie was.
Right.
They're running to the aircraft. It could be taken as their aircrew going to scramble.
Can we talk about FOD?
FOD?
Okay. FOD, F-O-D.
Foreign object damage.
Foreign object damage. Foreign object debris. What are the odds that after 20 Tomahawks hit this airbase, you can take off successfully?
None.
0%. Not even
on a taxiway.
Not even 1%.
No.
Admiral, you dare call yourself an American? Well, that gets my panties in a bunch. It's scum like you that put a taint in our military.
The following video, in a controlled industry test environment, clearly exhibits the catastrophic effects even one piece of FOD can have if ingested into a running jet engine. FOD migration is the process in which pieces of FOD may travel from the point of original origin or source.
Incomplete sweeper action, caught in vehicle tire grooves, or moved by human interface.
Now that you have a better understanding of what FOD is and what its impact can have in and around the airport.
I've done lots of FOD walks, but I mean, my thought bubble when you're saying this, of all the things that made that scene improbable, the FOD
low on the list.
It's really low on the list.
A thing that will stop them dead in their tracks. They try to take off and their engine explodes. Isn't even high on your list.
Maverick, we can't take off. We didn't do our FOD walk.
Exactly.
Here's what we should have a real movie for: is Wild Weasels. We should have a Wild Weasel film. Suppression of enemy air defense, or SED. The SED role. These are dudes who fly in and they're like, I want you to shoot your SAMs at me so I can shoot missiles that seek out the SAM sites and the radar sites, take those out. They're like, I'm a target.
I'm a dummy.
Shoot at me, and then they shoot at the radars. The glory jockeys who go in, oh, we get to hit the target. Meanwhile, the SED guys, you don't get the glory. That's what I would.
I agree.
You could have it just as dangerous. This coordinated attack, like, you've got to do your mission, otherwise these guys get shot down. So you got to go do your mission. Go be at a target. Go be the decoy.
It could be like
the target.
Jocks versus nerds situation.
Sure. Exactly.
If I were to write a Top Gun, I would write about Wild Weasels. Probably go to Vietnam and be like the people who invented this. Who were like, I've got a crazy idea.
Well, I remember Operation Northern Watch, and they were launching some mission into Iraq. And
this is post Desert Storm.
Yeah.
When we're enforcing a no-fly zone. Is that right?
And they wanted us to, a bunch of aircraft to shoot up the SAM sites, and then they wanted the stealth bombers to come in afterwards. And I'm like,
why?
Exactly. That's what, like, if you're so stealthy, you should go first. You know, not let us kind of work through all this other mess.
Just go in there when they
You
can't
don't need
see
the stealth after all the
exactly.
stuff.
At the bomb start playing, then you don't need stealth.
Right.
Yeah, I was quickly put in my place.
I just rewatched The Hunt for October and Down Periscope. Very technical. We trust audiences in 1990 to understand the difference between active sonar and passive sonar. But nowadays, we're like, flares, chaff, who gives a shit? Oh, they have to do the... Okay. And it's like, we can't do, like, Wild Weasels do a thing, the Tomahawks do a thing. We have, like, a complicated mission. It's got to be Tom Cruise pulls 9Gs. That's the mission. We've got Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise. He's the only one that can do it.
No, 22-year-olds with a great shape can't do it, but 60-year-old Tom Cruise, who's got a beer belly, can.
They want to romanticize.
Romanticizing it.
It's the Wild West. It's the Lone Ranger.
It's gunslingers. You know.
We want to make war romantic.
War. It's fantastic.
Got to be outnumbered in the Top Gun movies.
They have to be the underdog of all underdogs.
Which is completely...
It's a good way to plan the mission. You motivate them by making them underdogs, right?
People want to see a fair fight.
Yes.
Everything about the military is about being
We don't
unfair.
want a fair fight.
We don't want a fair
No,
fight.
we want to kick their ass and go home, drink beer.
Completely overwhelm them
from all angles,
from all angles at all times.
Shock and awe,
and even sneak up, stab them in the back. Type stuff,
and we're generally really good at that.
Yeah, we're very good at that.
But it's not. It doesn't feel like a nice person fair fight type of a thing, and people that's not what sells.
Let's make this a fair fight.
I've been waiting for you, oh big one. Your powers are.
Your powers are weak, old man.
We'll settle this the old Navy way. First guy to die loses.
So if you were to write, they were to ask you.
Here's my new version.
Okay.
With 10 seconds of prep. He lives in like Denver. He's a drone pilot, and he does all these things and just goes home for dinner with his family.
Applebee's.
He goes to Applebee's with his family, but is just killed.
Too real. Too real.
What's the title of this? Top Gun.
Applebee's.
Chair Force.
Yes.
Return of Applebee's.
Yeah.
No,
they couldn't have done where he's the instructor, but doesn't then take over and lead the mission. They couldn't have done that. They had to have Tom Cruise.
Oh, of
on
course.
the
You
mission.
knew that was coming.
I did know that was coming.
Yeah.
I wrote out my predictions.
Oh, I knew. As soon as they said,
"Let's hear it,"
we're not wanting you to fly. We're wanting you to teach him.
Well,
I know
knew
he's going to
before.
fly.
He's going to end up flying, yeah, for sure.
Was stealing F-14s part of SEER school?
No. I'm a
Survival.
graduate.
I want Dad.
Survival.
Survive, evade,
resist,
Scramble.
escape.
It's pretty close to what I was assigned as a teacher.
Yeah.
If we have a mass shooter.
Oh.
Hide, run, fight. I think that's what it is.
So SEER school, best experience of your life? Most fun you've ever had?
I lost 15 pounds in like 6 days.
Wow.
How many F-14s did you steal?
None.
I have a good friend of mine that used to be a SEER instructor.
The crap beat out of me and by a bunch of SEALs. And it was one of the 2 times in my life that I've hallucinated because I was...
What's the other time you hallucinated?
Do tell.
Yeah, we can't talk about that.
Elaborate on that.
Dehydration and starvation.
What did you hallucinate?
They
did
had
you see a Dr. Pepper machine in
They
the
had
desert?
us in these little, what I called dog houses. You had to crawl in them, and they were like made out of concrete blocks. That they had interrogated me for like the 3rd or 4th time, and then I came back in, and I thought there was a doily that they put on this concrete blocks. I'm like, what did they hang there? It was this patterned thing. And I'm like, what is that?
They've decorated my
They've
cell.
decorated my doghouse.
You hallucinated a doily.
Yes.
What's the other hallucination? I would like to hear this.
I took that certificate and put it in a safety deposit box. I did not want to go back to SEER school.
The only time I remember hallucinating was when the Gulf War first started. We were up several days, so fatigued that I hallucinated.
Mechanics, you guys are up 4 days, and you might shoot yourself in the chest because there's a spider on your chest.
And I almost did. Camel spider.
A camel spider.
The only time I almost fired my 9mm Desert Eagle was I woke up on my cot and he was on my chest.
And he
was going towards my face, and I pulled my piece out, and I.
You were issued a Desert Eagle?
And an M16.
These are spiders that are like a foot big, right?
I don't think it's going to stop the bullet, is the point.
Yeah.
That's so I ended up.
But I mean, that's a scary spider.
It's a big spider.
It's not like a little bitty spider.
No,
it's like a crab-sized spider.
Yeah. He's on my chest. He's coming towards my face.
Yeah.
So I pulled my sidearm out, and I went.
And then what?
I went.
So you did shoot it?
I did shoot it. I almost got an Article 15 for it.
I was going to say, did you get in trouble for firing?
I got in big trouble, yes.
How many people are like trying to sleep around you when you start firing your pistol?
5 or 6. We're in a bunker, though. We're in a bunker at the end of the runway.
What do you mean, though?
This is at KKMC?
This was at KKMC.
I'm voting best story of the video.
We were transported up there to do quick turn, combat quick turns.
Oh, my.
On anything that
landed. Because all the other aircraft, NATO aircraft and the U.S. aircraft, were further away in Saudi. So they would fly their mission from their base.
So you would get the ones who got shot up.
Well, not only that, but they come back just inside the border, reload with BB stackers, and go back, and then go back. So they do 2 sorties instead of 1.
You had speed tape?
Speed tape, sure.
Aaron, what's speed tape?
No idea.
500-mile-an-hour tape. It's aluminum foil tape we put over bullet holes.
Oh, for like a patch job. Not duct tape?
How much would you like to fly in a plane that's got bullet holes that my dad has been like, oh, that's good. Put some tape over it. It's fine.
Yeah, Southwest Airlines is as like roughing it as I get in terms of air travel.
Yeah.
No JetBlue for you.
No.
Get the lead out! Gonna be okay! Get back here!
Oh, you can't tape a wing like that. Look at the difference.
So they're getting out with the gaffer tape.
Do you get triggered by smells once in a while?
JP5. When I go when you go to a
JP4 gives me a boner. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and so
cut to the Cialis commercial in the middle of Top Gun.
Yeah,
JP4 does that.
You have to
not 5.
I love the smell.
What's the difference between JP4 and JP5?
1 number.
Good fact. Fun facts.
I can never find time for love. It's too heavy. It's an anchor that drowns a man. Besides, I got the sky, the smell of jet exhaust.
Yeah. SR-71 flies with JP7, which is gel. And we used to pick up the chute on the SR-71 at Lake Keith, and it would be covered in fuel.
Did you ever work with U-2s?
I did.
Did you have to drive the car?
I didn't drive. I was the poke guy.
No way.
Oh yeah, several times in the El Caminos. Yeah. You get in the El Camino and you got these pogos with wheels.
Right.
And there's 2 of them, one on each side of the U2. And as he comes down, you slip him up in the hole, and the El Camino's back off, and then he lands.
That's
dangerous.
Awesome. That is so awesome.
Gave me a boner. And you have a strap around you.
Classic.
You're supposed to have straps around you.
So,
but I thought that would keep.
Did you wear a helmet?
Yeah.
Do you get any training before
That's
you
the new best story of the video. That you just beat your own story there.
Do you have any training before you do this? So they're like, there's a U-2 landing.
Yeah.
Get in the back.
Well,
here's a wheel. You
right,
shove it
you
in.
Just go in. You sit in the back and watch the other guy do it.
So you watched one guy do it once?
Once or twice. We had El Caminos that were on loan from
Special Air Force.
Yeah.
They had in England.
Yeah.
Did they have to modify the catalytic converter to go to England or something?
Probably took it off.
It does make me think, like, for Top Gun, we could have, washed out. We've got some old aircraft we're going to pull out of retirement for some reason.
Yeah.
Maybe it should have been, for some reason, we got to pull the F-14 out of retirement.
Yes.
And they're like, well, we got to get someone who knows how to fly this. We don't have anyone who knows how to fly these. They've been retired 15 years. Maverick, hey, you're living on a base somewhere doing He's been doing paperwork for 15 years. He's been a paper pusher. Finish this series. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Suck, squeeze,
bang, blow.
Points. My dad gets points. You know that? You know that, David?
Nope.
No?
It's principle of a jet engine.
Principles of how a jet engine works.
Suck, squeeze, bang, blow.
Suck, squeeze, bang, blow.
Yeah.
This is my predictions. I'd seen the trailers like a year and a half ago, so it's in my mind somewhere. I had not read any reviews. I had not read any plot synopsis.
We believe you.
I had Erin read this beforehand. She can vouch. We catch up with Maverick, who's doing something cool like being a test pilot and driving vintage cars while not being a team player, trademark.
You wrote that?
Yes. Because of international incident, the new class of the youngsters is sent back to Top Gun. Maverick is sent back to Top Gun to teach. The new class, copyright, is just like the kiddos from the first film, including Goose's kid, Iceman's kid, and Wilson the volleyball's kid.
Wilson the volleyball.
There it is. That's what I was looking for. One of them will buzz the tower and will make Tom Cruise spill his coffee on himself, and he'll mutter, "Oh, kids these days."
Kids these days.
That would have been good.
That'd been great.
That would have been good. They didn't do that. Maverick struggles teaching the new class because, kids these days, but then he turns it around by demonstrating his value using the dentist system from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. We will not care about the new class very much because Tom Cruise has to be the main character.
Exactly.
Yes.
Tom Cruise gets the love interest storyline.
Of course he did.
Yes. Check.
Kelly McGillis will be dead, and he's a widow, so he has a haunted past and is reluctant to love again.
He's so complex.
Which I was wrong.
But he's still reluctant to love again.
Yeah, they just like...
But only because he needs to go to
Yeah.
therapy.
Did they mention Kelly
Not for
McGillis
any
at all?
No, he
Charlie
needs
Blackford?
therapy.
They just ignored the fact that she's just not really in it. A hottie will teach him to love again, and he'll give her a ride on his motorcycle next to the beach.
He did.
Pretty accurate.
Of all the missions and all the jungles and all the world, you had to come walking into this one.
Oh, Topper, I tried to stay away. I thought I was never going to see you again, that you were out of my life. But it's a sequel. I had to come.
Do you have any idea what the critics will say?
There will be an incident at Top Gun, such as Goose's death, like the death of a wingman for a main character, but it won't be Goose's kid because you can't kill Goose to Electric Boogaloo.
It's too tight. Pull out, sir. Pull out.
So look for a fun comic relief pilot character, probably black, who will die halfway through the movie.
You know that global warming problem? I've discovered how we can reverse it.
Tell me.
No, not now, lovey bumpers. There'll be plenty of time for that later.
And they really were like, the black guy,
They teased
he
it.
blacked out.
They teased it.
They did.
Oh, he's fine. And then there was Bird
I thought
Strike.
for sure he was going to die.
Yeah, and then there was Bird Strike, and it was like, oh, the girl and Bob. Oh,
I knew the girl
They're
wouldn't
The
fine.
token girl.
And then
she
it was
wouldn't die.
Iceman. After that, Maverick and Goose's kid finally bond.
They did.
Boom! Rat-a-tat. International incident ramps up. We need to go now, earlier than anticipated.
Well, a week early.
Maverick insists on going with them, or takes a demotion in order to do it. So he wasn't supposed to, but he's gonna be on the mission.
Yeah.
Maverick is the leader as he leads the new class copyright into battle. The battle is way too long and ridiculous and is boring by the end. I don't know about boring, but way too long and ridiculous.
It was long and ridiculous.
Yeah, this is the part of the video where we tell Jeff how smart he is. Everyone
Very
tell
smart.
Jeff.
You're very
You're
smart.
so smart.
That was
I have
brilliant.
more.
You
I
have
have more.
insight.
I want to hear more.
I have more.
I wanna hear more.
Maverick saves the day by sacrificing himself valiantly in a scene that is too long, doing the sacrifice in some contrived situation. I'm gonna take the bullet for you, kind of a thing.
Well, he almost
Minus
did
1
that when he
point.
got stepped in front of the missile.
They land on the flight deck, but it's not a big party like at the end of Top Gun 1 because Maverick died, so it can't be a big party.
Can't be celebrated.
But then the rescue helicopter shows up with Maverick.
Oh,
and he's there and he lived.
they plucked him out of the water.
And then they have the party.
Where's Topper?
Lost contact.
Very good
Very
job.
good.
Nice
amazing.
job, Jeff. I'm proud of
Hey,
you.
I did it. Hey, I did it. Hey, I did it. Hey, I did it. Hey, I did it. Compare it to their ending,
Yeah.
which involves,
I say you're pretty right on.
instead of the rescue helicopter getting him out of the water, the bad helicopter comes and shoots at him but misses because he runs and outruns the helicopter,
outran, well,
and then
you
they
know.
steal an F-14. I didn't anticipate stealing an F-14.
I used to outrun helicopters too. Yeah, don't listen to us. Go see it.
We're full of shit.
We are. It's worth the ticket price.
$5.50 matinee price.
Is
it worth 10?
No.
How many dollars would you spend to see that?
8.
Yeah. $8.
Eight's the number.
It gets $8
2
on
gallons
the scale.
of gas is what it's worth.
It's worth 2 gallons of gas.
I'd pay 20 if it got me into one of these Jeff videos. I would just.
Yeah.
I don't want a Top Gun 3.
No.
No Top Gun 3.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We're done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if it takes that long to make a sequel.
You hallucinated a doily.
Yes.
We'll have to send a Maverick into each one of these shafts.
It's too tight. Pull out, sir. Pull out.
Suck, squeeze, bang, blow.
Suck, squeeze, bang, blow.
I don't need to see Tom Cruise as Maverick being schooled by some trans-identifying non-binary flight instructor.
But the film is not woke. It does have a girl among the top guns. I'm not saying anything because I know there are women fighter pilots. And by the way, anybody who flies one of these things is a hero in my book, male or female. But I was looking at this girl. She's just this sweet little creature that I didn't think was going to be flying. But that's okay. All right, a little fantasy for everybody. It's not woke. That's all. That's why it's a hit. Excellent film. We shouldn't be making propaganda. We should be making art, but there's no reason we can't have. It's all about assumptions. You know, they assume that women need feminism. Sweet little creature. We shouldn't be making propaganda. We should be making art, but there's no reason we can't have. We shouldn't be making propaganda. We should be making art, but there's no reason we can't have. We shouldn't be making propaganda. We should be making art, but there's no
War. It's fantastic.
Excellent film. It's a film full of cliches. I mean, it's just one cliche after another, really. Excellent film. Sweet little creature.
It sure as hell ain't Kansas, Toto.
By this time, when he gets up to Top Gun, the cocaine use is out of control. He's been in rehab 2 or 3 times already. The hooker use is out of control.
No!
People say this is what Scientology is, that you're a bunch on a lunatic fringe or whatever. Does that...
Peter?
Tom?
No one's ever said that to me.
But no, I mean that perception out there.
Yeah, but that's not the perception out there.